Hello, this is Michael Albanese, and this is for the November 24th log entry, the last log entry of the semester. And these, since the last log entry, we've discussed a lot about rough theater and the different elements that go into rough theater. And one of the things we discussed was moral plays, or just moral media in general, and if moral media can be dangerous. And we essentially came to the conclusion that it could be, based on what the morals were, what they were propagating, and how very much it could be propaganda based on to what cause the morals were directed, with things like Birth of a Nation and Triumph of the Will and stuff like that. And we also discussed how, what's his name again? Adorno. How he said that art shouldn't be moralistic because it could serve both good or evil. And I thought that was very interesting because if you make something with a moral, realistically, it could inadvertently become a servant of evil in a later time. Just like how Birth of a Nation, while at the time, everyone thought it was really great. Now everyone thinks that it's a detestable work of colonial white supremacy. So how do we know that if something were to be made now that everyone thought was this beautiful triumph of morality and everyone should live by these morals that this movie or play or whatever is talking about, meanwhile in 50 years people could look at it and say, wow, I can't believe that they thought that this was good. This is terrible. Because, of course, the moral landscape is changing all the time. So that raises the question of, should things be moralistic if it could end up inadvertently serving bad forces at some other point in time? And there's really not much of an answer to it, but it's still something very interesting to even ponder in the first place. And then the other thing we discussed was the work of Brecht, and how in his plays he thought that it was better to make the audience have questions to answer rather than giving them a very clear message. And that's very fascinating because I feel like it's more effective that way. If the audience, you show them whatever it is that you've made, and the audience is then afterwards has to analyze it to try to decipher what it is that they just watched. Not in a way that's so unattainable that they didn't even begin to understand what any of that was supposed to mean, but in a way that allows them to ponder all these different questions surrounding the plot of what it is they just watched. For example, Game of Thrones is what I was thinking of when we were talking about this. About how there's no true message, at least not very clearly, except you have a bunch of people that are all fighting for power, and they're all both very broken and very good at the same time. Everyone is very morally gray. There are people that are a little bit worse and people that are a little bit better, but realistically everyone is both good and bad. And it's with all these people that you could either like or hate, no matter if they're good or bad guys. And really think about what it means to be a good person, what makes a good person, and as well what power might mean. It doesn't tell you these things. It shows you all of this stuff, all these bad things going on, all these broken people doing all of these things, and then you have to decipher in your mind what it is that you could take away from it. And I think it's just much more effective at giving forward a message that people could really take home, because it's something that if they ponder it more, they can therefore remember it more, and it sticks with them more if they're really able to think on it, rather than just being handed to them and they don't have to think about it very much. But yes, those are my thoughts on those things, and I hope you found this interesting, and bye for now.